Hello, my name is Leanne May, and this is my project proposal for Healthcare Administration Capstone 491A with Dr. Melanie Tidman. Planning Human Resource Practices, a proposal for improving the quality of long-term care by decreasing the turnover and increasing the retention of frontline workers. The two elderly women in these photos are my grandmothers who recently passed. Both received long-term care in the skilled nursing, home health, and hospice settings at the end of their lives. Both of their experiences were comprised of negative and positive elements and are what sparked an interest in working in long-term care. While working as a medical assistant, I also witnessed abuse to a patient at the hands of a frontline long-term care worker. Quality long-term care is a passion of mine, and the fact that there is so much room for improvement in long-term care, combined with my personal and professional experiences, are the reasons I am so focused on it. This proposal is intended for a national reform effort rather than for a single facility. Doug Jones, PhD student and healthcare administrator with over 30 years of experience, served as my mentor. Needs assessment. There is substantial evidence of ongoing long-term care worker shortages in light of the growing demand for services. This trend is exponential, and the data in the above two charts are evidence. Turnover, or a lack of retention, is the main cause for quality issues in the long-term care sector. The statistics speak for themselves. A 2012 report by the AHCA reports that turnover rates below 30% for RNs and 40% for CNAs are optimal and correlate with better quality care. The research to support the correlation between staff and quality care is both widespread and long-standing. Staff turnover has a stronger association with quality than staffing levels, and favorable staffing improves quality of care. High levels of turnover are prone to causing work overload, safety and neglect, fragmented care, reckless hiring practices, and deviant staff behaviors. Providing quality care is difficult, if not impossible, for workers under these conditions. But why is turnover so high? Some of the most common reasons for the high turnover in long-term care are no opportunity for career advancement, little opportunity or lack of inclusion in decision-making and care practices, social stigma, low pay without benefits, working conditions, and lack of respect for management and lack of dignity in the workplace being the most common reason. Notice here that pay is not actually at the top of the list. The vast majority of major stakeholders in the U.S. healthcare system would be entirely supportive of this proposal. The data on the past and future projections of the need for long-term care services speak for themselves. The need is growing exponentially. Because of the widespread evidence that correlates staff quality and quality care, stakeholders in support of long-term care reform often need very little convincing. However, stakeholders initially in support of long-term care reform may balk at how to proceed, since most facilities operate on little to no profit margins, making it difficult to impose wage increases and benefits to attract and retain staff. Before increasing the wages of staff already on hand, many of the goals and project improvements must be implemented first. Once these steps have been taken, turnover is reduced and the quality has improved for both staff and residents. Many of the financial resources eaten up by turnover will become readily available to invest into wage increases and benefits packages. Research communities, employers, and professional associations, although supportive, are not as directly involved and therefore affected by this proposal to improve the quality of long-term care. However, each can benefit in their own unique way, and so they fall into the necessary to inform category. Research communities need very little convincing to be interested in the implementation of long-term care reform. The results of this study could garner useful information worth disseminating to the scientific community or provide support and evidence for current research. Employers whose employees have family in long-term care can also benefit because of the impact that the quality of care and therefore quality of life of residents has on their employees' health and availability. Professional associations with a vested interest in the sector of long-term care, such as the Journal of Applied Gerontology or the American Medical Association, might be intrigued by the findings as a basis for best practice. Unsupportive stakeholders. Other long-term care facilities that are currently performing at the lowest required standard will not take kindly to that standard being significantly raised. It will likely result in their workers and residents leaving to seek better pay, opportunities, and care elsewhere, leading to possible closure of the facility. Likewise, health professional education centers and training institutions may suffer as the standard by which they are currently graduating people into the work pool is lower, thus requiring them to redesign and implement better training protocols and education. Although there is a general consensus that the reimbursement methodology of care does impact the pay of workers, thereby affecting the type of people attracted to the work in the long-term care sector, it's vital that an emphasis be placed on improving the pay and wages of workers through education, training, and career advancement opportunities. Residents want to receive better care, and staff want to give better care and are capable of doing so when they possess the necessary skills and proficiencies to perform at the highest level and are given proper incentives to do so. Goals. Candidates are difficult to come by, let alone quality candidates. By attracting, hiring, training, and retaining quality staff, costs associated with hiring temps, overtime, and sick leave for overworked staff can be made readily available. This in turn can fund higher wages and benefits, as well as decreasing hospital readmissions and the cost to the insurance groups and the government, all while enabling greater continuity of care and ultimately resulting in better health outcomes and happier residents and staff. To attract and hire quality workers, they have to be aware of the opportunities. By becoming part of and engaging with the community, the task of attracting quality staff is simplified because they will come to you. This is also true when tapping into the existing resource of current staff. High performers are likely to know other high performers, offering recommendations from an additional untapped resource. Education and training of staff so that they can perform their job with confidence while giving them the respect and dignity they deserve is a cornerstone to attracting and retaining hired staff. It's crucial for management to also become more responsible and accountable for the outcomes of the hiring process so that there is more incentive to hire the right people rather than just a warm body. During the interview and hiring process, behavioral interview techniques provide a much more comprehensive picture of candidates and allow for HR to match them with the right position. So many project improvement plans fail because they lack specific project requirements and appropriate tools. This list outlines the many project requirements that must be met for this reform to achieve and maintain success. Key to determining whether or not this reform is successful is the comparison of the before and after calculated retention and turnover rates by using the formula depicted on the slide. What can be measured can be improved, and what isn't measured can't be proven. Surveys from staff, doctors, and residents also play a crucial role in determining if the results have created improvement in the quality of care. Re-emphasizing the previous point made about exposure, take advantage of creating relationships with local universities and technical colleges. Educational institutions are excellent places to source volunteers from. By volunteering in a long-term facility, students and volunteers can develop an awareness of the long-term sector, invest in and build relationships with residents, gain experience, and get their foot in the door for future job opportunities. Engaging with residents also builds a relationship that provides a steady stream of new graduates into the workforce pool. Necessary resources. Most long-term care facilities operate with either a basic level electronic health record or none at all. Having a comprehensive and robust electronic health record is vital to improving the ability of staff to deliver quality care. By simplifying the work that needs to be done and providing support, reducing redundancies, and enhancing the ability to quickly and effectively communicate with each other, a new EHR is the first step towards delivering quality care. Couple a comprehensive EHR with lean methodology and PDCA cycle for plan, do, check, act to reduce waste and bring about success by designing improvements around a known problem, and the quality of care will simply improve by making staff more efficient. Input by all major stakeholders helps design programs that are more facility-focused, bringing a whole picture perspective to the discussion, and the creation of facility-specific plans designed around the needs of staff and residents. The biggest cost, which is time, is the hardest to come by, but the amount of time currently wasted putting out fires and dealing with inefficiencies justifies reprioritizing this precious resource. Regarding literature search strategies and databases, all searches performed were geared towards documenting the shortage of a qualified long-term care workforce, the increasing demand for long-term care services, current and optimal turnover rates, and hiring and retention strategies. Most of the literature was sourced from medical journal databases, such as PubMed and NCBI. Some were sourced from my mentor at my request and with the name of the journal article, from databases which I could not access. And the rest were located in previous healthcare administrative textbooks from this degree course. Resources available on this topic were not exhausted, but unfortunately so many failed the time test. While there is a vast amount of research that shows the correlation between staffing and quality, most of it dates back to the 90s, when it became a topic of interest in the years leading up to the Balanced Budget Act. Of those that were timely, an even smaller percentage were from the United States. Research is only relevant in this case when the same conditions are met, so the research done outside the United States in the presence of different healthcare systems and socioeconomics could not be used. All research and data used were taken from government, medical, or scientific sources in order to ensure both the accuracy and relevancy of the information, and was focused on long-term care as a whole rather than a specific facility. The purpose was to enable this to be a national reform, capable of being used by any facility in the country to improve the quality of care being delivered. For the biblical perspective, I drew some connections between verses to make my point, so bear with me. God created every man, woman, and child, both young and old, in his image, hence the term image bearers. He doesn't bestow more value on one person versus another, young or old, because every life is of equal and inestimable worth and value to God. God created mankind because he loves us and desires for us to love each other in him. If we love God, we will follow his teachings. The Bible teaches us that we are to outdo one another in showing love and honor for God's glory, which is an element of the good works that he calls us to. More specifically, God in the Bible calls us to love and honor our elders, which can be parents or even members of the community. As it stands, long-term care is not geared at honoring our elders or venerating their existence through good works on their behalf. We can do so much better because long-term care is rooted in the belief that we carry one another's burdens and commit our lives to the Lord through acts of love and kindness to our fellow man. So, in conclusion, it's clear that there is a shortage of quality long-term care workers, and that is in light of a growing demand for services as a result of the graying of America primarily through the baby boomer generation. It's possible that care at home by a family does produce better results than institutionalized care. However, improving care in the facility setting is the next best solution until better reforms aimed at reimbursing families to provide in-home care can be implemented. The current quality of long-term care leaves much to be desired, but by attracting, hiring, training, and retaining quality workers, it's possible to bring long-term care up to the standard of quality that acute care is better known for. The outcome of this reform can better inform facilities and research communities about implementation of strategies and best practice methods. By working to the best of our ability to act and live through service as Christ has exemplified and God has instructed, it is possible to turn this national reform into a national success.